Hey, good morning, my neighbors. Welcome to another episode of BYTTT. Before you take the trade, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and the bell button. Let's go ahead and get some work done. I want to get through this kind of quick. The first thing I want to kind of wrap up is the fact that NQ has been doing some very interesting things. We kind of had a nice little push up on continuation to the upside, especially the fact that we just had NVIDIA earnings. Nice little base that was actually laid out on here, and you can kind of see we're just getting more of that push. This was the NVIDIA earnings right here, and they're trying to recapture that whole entire move right back up to that upside, putting some pressure on some of the bearish momentum that they had from before. So we're going to see how the market responds to that as we go throughout today. All right, the next one we're going to talk about is oil. Oil did not touch the trend line, and it did not actually break out, which is a little weird here. So be careful with taking this trade. I'm thinking there's going to be some additional chop. The news was released yesterday for the oil inventory, and I think they're probably just building up enough momentum to push it back out to this downside. So just keep that in mind. Here's gold. Gold is continuing to go to that upside. They back into that wedge. We retraced into here, but it was just a place for them to load up some more. Look for gold to continue to the upside, and then you got contract expiration on silver, which is giving us a little bit of a catalyst to try to get to that $40 level. Look forward to get to that $40 level and then rebalance this whole entire contract expiration gap, which could happen later on in September. This is your British pound. Kind of got into that zone, got rejected using that downward trend line that I kind of drew right here. Until that actually falls apart, you're going to probably get some lower prices on the British pound. Bitcoin is trying to recover, getting back through that downward trend line that they created back over here off of that pivot. If they do recapture this area, look for Bitcoin to get to like 115. I really think we was going to get to 107, but it stopped at like 108, which makes sense. It's the top of the order block. Let's see how far they can get. I would say, if worst case scenario, they're probably going to get, best case scenario, they're going to get to like the 50 EMA. If not, it's probably going to get into this area right here before it rejects. I don't think we're going to go for the 125. I think way too much time has passed and it ran out of momentum. Here's the Russell I was explaining to. This is probably a good time to invest into IWM. This thing is starting to really take, so just keep that in mind. And then last but not least is the infamous dollar, and we could go ahead and see the market. I just love technology. The market has been putting pressure onto the dollar, and it got to that area, and then it got smacked, and we're now below that level. It did recover off of some of the momentum, but this could be one of those where it tests, try to get through. If they can recapture that wick, then we're dropping, but if we don't recapture that wick, we're coming right back down, and that's going to make the market rally even further. So go ahead and pull out a pen and a pad, because I'm going to go ahead and give you the news, and it's coming in hot. The first thing we're going to go ahead and wrap up is the fact that we got the economic calendar, and that economic calendar does look like we got a couple of things to look out for. Today is going to be the jobs report, and I kind of explained to y'all this a couple days ago. We got retail sales over Europe, and then when we kind of work our way down, there it is, continuous jobless claim with a mix in the GDP. We're going to get some consumer spending. And then we got ourselves a bond auction. This one right here, this is the one I'm looking at 1 o'clock. See if that's going to have a little bit of effect inside of the market. So that's the ones that I'm kind of keen off, making sure that they do what they're needed to do. But the most biggest thing I would say overall is my consumer sentiment, which is going to be on Friday. Michigan consumer sentiment. This one is going to go ahead and be one of the ones that's going to be very tricky, because I think wherever we relatively go, we're going to go ahead and reverse from it. All right, so what are we going to talk about? Let's talk about something that's the obvious. Since we're dealing with like quite a bit of stuff when it comes down to semiconductors. I guess the article is written by Mr. Kimball, right? And it says, Why the Trump administration's Intel stake may not be a slam dunk for investors. Well, let's think. Think really long and hard on that. Intel's chart has not been the best. I'm gonna go to a monthly chart so you can see this. Right, it has not been the best. I think this is a way for them to kind of trap some more recent bulls in itself. This is the monthly chart. I don't know if y'all could see that. One, it has been getting its butt completely whipped. It's in the middle of a monthly. That's monthly. That means 30 days. That means, oh my God, this is just bad, right? We're talking about a monthly death cross that it's sitting on. That can reach all the way to about $36, give or take, right? I do think we could retest, but the moment that they touch that monthly 50 EMA, it's getting smacked all the way back down to the downside. That's what I'm getting out of this. I do not like Intel for its ways because it lost its market cap. I do not like their product lineup. Could they make a stride inside of maybe something like data infrastructure, knowing that we're going to have a lot of AI stuff that's coming in? You're going to have to prove it from one of the scales. Now, the one thing I will say is that we do have a bit of a bullish divergence here, where this is probably why the conversation is being made the way everybody's thinking. Come on, get there. Where are you? Come on, I need my trend line. All right, let's try that one more time. All right. Well, we got this whole entire downtrend that was just pushing down, but if we look over here on this MACD, we got a nice little curl up here. So that's what I think is driving this, and in less than 2 days we're gonna get a finalized candle that looks like an engulfing at the bottom of a bullish divergence. So my Intel bulls, that's what you can hold on to, but it's a death cross. At best you're gonna get that $32 bounce at best. And slam dunk, I think when they're saying slam dunk, I think they were thinking like it's going to go ahead and get back to its stride, turn into the Nvidias and everything else. This ticker, until they do stock buybacks and do some reverse splits, it is impossible for them to do so. This is why. They have 4.36 billion shares floated. All right? And they're not good at what they're doing. Let's do a little recap. This is AMD's. A quarter, come on, get up there. A quarter of what Intel has. Here, let's do something fun like Micron. A quarter of what Intel has. And let's take the leader in the space and leader of the nation, if you really think about it. 23 billion shares floated. Just to kind of put things into perspective. This one's at 188 because everybody knows they are leading the space, right? And they brought in a whole lot of investors. I would love to hear a major share buyback out of Intel. I'm sorry, out of Nvidia, because that will automatically drive that stock on the upside. But a company like Intel, it could benefit from here, showing that they're a healthier business to attract investors and run away from Nvidia. That's the only thing. After that, nope, that's it. Let me give you one more. Actually, you know what? Maybe we should just talk about Nvidia, because the whole entire space. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different articles surrounded around Nvidia, just to kind of give you a little perspective. So let's go ahead and talk about Nvidia. Let me pick one of these. Let's go with Santoli. Santoli's market wrap up. Market holds on Nvidia's hope with little concern shown for Fed independence. Now, there's a lot of stuff that's going back and forth between the Trump administration and the fact that they want Jay Powell to drop interest rates. Remember, I take these things with a grain of salt. It's very important that you understand what the charts are saying when it's all said and done. Nvidia has been on a complete tear, hence the reason why it's pulling back right now. It's down $3. While this, it might get to like 152 and then bounce right back up. That's a very strong possibility as investors are starting to pull some money off Nvidia and park it in other things. But to be honest, this is a strong company, so it doesn't matter what they do. This thing is going to relatively still continue to the upside. Now, it's going to be attractive to park your money into like a Intel because it's such a laggard, so that way they can make some money. But they're going to come right back when this thing starts to pivot or launch something in particular that will attract investors. And to be honest, it's just overheated here and it's overheated on the daily. And we've been putting in bearish divergences for a while on the daily. It just needs a nice little reprieve. I would say 150. A nice little 150 would be solid for NVIDIA. All right. So let's go ahead and keep this going. We got ourselves quite a bit of tickers, and I do apologize on the last BYTTT. I did not go over today's earnings, so we're going to do that today. The first one I want to go ahead and bring up, which is going to be releasing this morning, is Burlington. All right, so this is some of the discount stores. You already see what happened with Abercrombie & Fitch and Urban Outfitters. I kind of told y'all that what was happening with those. And this is one of those bargain discount stuff that you're going to start to see. So you can kind of see, kind of looks like a bull flag here, especially with the fact that inflation is where it is. Even if they lower interest rate, we're still not in the best of states, I would think. So I could see this being able to benefit from that as people start to run away from other different tickers and park it in something that is going to give some type of residual growth. And then right here we got Ollie. This is another discount store as well. You can kind of see nice hold of the 50 moving average. It's been doing that for quite a few number of days. Could it use a reset? Yeah, it could possibly if you want to go ahead and go that route. They're anticipating a growth in the EPS, so let's not, shoot ourselves in the foot. I think this thing can continue to upside, which also brings in Dollar General, Dollar Tree, all of those, and you can kind of see this is starting to rebound where it is. So I think this will play a factor. Today, later on tonight, we're going to get Autodesk. I got to type this in right. Autodesk, this is a tech space. If you don't know, they do package software to kind of give you a little bit of an idea. They're trying to hold this place right here, but I think it's going to come out for the 200 moving average. It's not as fancy as the other tech ones, hence the reason it doesn't have no major rallies per se, but this was a solid one that came off in April. And I think that's all the smoke that they have. Another one is Affirm that's going to be later on tonight. This one recovered quite nicely, which at the end of the day, Upstart has created quite a bit of an issue for me, and I don't like how they're panning out. So I think everybody plugged their money inside of Affirm. I was going to get a little bit more of a pullback. I think Upstart is a better company, but hey, the market's going to do what the market does. We have to take the chart for what it says. And then the last one is Ulta. This one is not at a discount, but again, women loves their makeup. It's not going to change. They're one of the leaders in consumption, so this is why this is going to always be doing relatively well. Not great for option contracts, but that bounce off of 309 at the beginning of the year tells you a lot about this ticker, especially that we're starting to really expand some of my EMAs. And then tomorrow morning, we don't have much. Frontline PLC. I just had to pick something. I think that's the only one that's reporting in the morning. This thing looks like it's trying to make a push to the upside. We got ourselves a golden cross, and if it does hold that support, we're probably talking about a $24 stock after earnings. If not, we're probably going to drop down, get under my 800, and probably come down to like $16. All right, let's talk about a couple that's going to be coming up as we get ready for Quad Witcher to finish, and then we're going to be dealing with the cycle again. SoFi's earnings, this one's going to be dropping somewhere in the middle of November. Going to be very curious about that one. 3M, I love where it is. If y'all remember, we talked about 3Ms a while back. This one was around 140 when we took it up to about 150. Right now it's just sitting around that 156, trying to see if it's going to hold this base. It did spike out to 164. We didn't get all of it, but we did get a good chunk of it. AZZ, something that could be good inside your portfolio. They do galvanized products, and They just do things well. And I've been happy with that in my portfolio. IBM did get beat up. I think there is a recovery cycle for them because they are the innovators of a lot of AI with Watson AI, and I think this was just a discount, knowing that a lot of people are just taking their profits and maybe they got something down the pipeline. So just keep in mind in that. And then UNH, you already know what's going on with Warren Buffett coming in and stuff. They're just going to drop in October. And this is probably going to be the one that everybody's going to keep their eye on as we get into the open enrollment. And I think there's going to be a lot of revenues that's going to be coming in there. So keep healthcare in your radar. Actually, why don't you just go ahead and just put in XLV as a totality? Look at that. That looks like a W. Looks like a bump and run. Looks like we're going to break out at 140. And then continue to like maybe 150. Let's see what happens there. All right. So that said, I want to say thank you for participating with BYTTT. Before you take the trade, we're going to go ahead and end it over here. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and the bell button. That way the algorithm knows I've dropped good content. That said, share it to your friends and family. And I will see y'all tomorrow with After the Trades. Y'all have a great day. Bye-bye.